I have no idea how good the quality of this is gonna be because this is being recorded on my phone. But I wanted to talk about Hazbin Hotel and Helluva while I had like my room alone and I was able to actually record this. And this is really weird because I'm not used to recording like this. But I've been wanting to do this sort of video for a while, and it's not the usual type of video that I do. I haven't written a script or anything. I don't know where I'm gonna start. I am just winging this because I have the time. I have my room by myself, and I might not even post this video and redo it. But I've been on Twitter quite a lot recently, and I've seen a lot of not so great, not very positive things about both the Hazbin and Helluva fandom. And I wanted to put my own opinion onto it because everyone has different opinions, and I wanted to share mine. Yeah. Now, the topics in this video are not going to be light-hearted. Obviously, because Helluva and Hazbin are not very positive. They don't have a lot of positive themes in it. Like, there's sexual assault, whatever. So if you don't want to hear about those sorts of topics, like abuse, rape, sexual assault, don't watch the video if those topics trigger you, because there's gonna be a lot of those in this video. Also, don't ask why I'm in the dark. This is like the best lighting that I can get, probably. I'm gonna start off with the easiest topic that I could think about, and that is angel dust. Angel Dust is one of the main characters of Hazbin Hotel. He's a porn star, and he's also an abuse and rape victim. I, as an abuse and rape victim, I hold Angel Dust quite close to my heart. I relate to him on very, very personal levels, and I understand why a lot of people think that he's not the best rep for sexual assault and rape. But as someone who's experienced those things firsthand, I 100% understand and see his point of view and think that it is valid. Anyone who has experienced rape, sexual assault, abuse, grooming, whatever, they are valid. 100%. It doesn't matter how they use those situations to cope or how they react to that. Their experiences are still valid, and I support everyone who's experienced that 100%, because it's a shitty thing to go through. Angel Dust just sadly has a very not so positive experience, and he's stuck there. He cannot leave. Me, thankfully, I was able to leave when I wanted. My abuser and rapist left me, which if they didn't, and they still were with me to this day, I would still be with them, because I just physically don't know how to leave relationships. With Angel Dust, I think that if he had a chance to leave, he 100% would, at the first chance he could get. But sadly, because he's under contract and his soul is owned by Valentino, he can't leave, even if he wanted to. That's just a sad truth. Now, Angel Dust has, I'm not sure if this is canon, this is just what I've seen from my experiences and what I know, but Angel Dust, in my eyes, has a disorder called hypersexuality disorder. It's a disorder where basically victims of sexual assault use sex and dangerous sexual coping mechanisms as a way to cope with their trauma. It also includes really, really bad intrusive thoughts in a sexual way. Like thinking about wanting to sexually assault someone, but not actually willing to do it, not wanting to think or to act on it. Sometimes thoughts get thoughted, and we can't always control it, which is so horrible. It's absolutely disgusting to think about. Which is part of the reason why a lot of victims of sexual assault, grooming, abuse, and rape usually become those sorts of people. I mean, I almost have. It was completely an accident, and I totally hate myself for it every single day. I'm not making excuses for those actions, but that is just what happens, and the only thing that you can really do is get help for those people that do it. Make sure that they don't act on those things. Anyways, we're going off a track here. Angel Dust uses sex, alcohol, and drugs as a way to cope. That was how he died. He died from an overdose. I assume would have been from coping from his trauma. He uses those to cope from the fact that he is basically just Val's sex toy. We've seen in the show multiple times the abuse that Valentino has done to Angel Dust, physically, verbally, and sexually. And even though those three things being used as a coping mechanism is not healthy, they are totally valid, and I wouldn't encourage them. But if you do go through those things, I would suggest maybe getting help in the most nicest way I could possibly say that. Find a therapist, make friends that can help, go to family, whatever. Sadly, with Angel Dust, he doesn't have much help. We don't know yet if any higher-ups like Lucifer or Charlie can even do anything with contracts. If they can, then that's great, but if they can't, there is literally nothing that they can do to help Angel Dust, which is part of the reason why he doesn't go to Charlie for help, because if there is nothing that she can do, which there most likely isn't, then what's the point in telling her? Not to mention, telling people about such serious topics is a very, very hard thing to do. I should know. It took me almost 5 years to tell my mother about my first ever time being sexually assaulted by my girlfriend, and it was not easy. I guess if you had a very close friend who you told everything about and you were comfortable enough to share that with, like Angel does with Husk, they relate to each other's situations pretty much almost exactly. They're both being held, and their souls are owned by two very powerful beings, and there's nothing that they can do about it, and that's how they bond. If you find someone who you can have that bond with, who relates to your situation, then I guess that's good. It makes it easier to be able to tell your experience and your story and whatever. Now, my whole point of this is that I see a lot of people saying that Angel Dust's sexual assault experience and his story and that whole plot, the entire 4th episode of Hazbin Hotel, is not valid. And I've seen a lot of people saying that whoever has those experiences and who uses sex, drugs, and alcohol as a way to cope with those traumas, that they should hurt themselves, even kill themselves, and that their experiences aren't valid if they relate to Angel Dust in any way. I've seen people say that Angel Dust is only created so then Vivzy Pop can get off of it. A lot of people say that it's romanticizing rape, sexualizing rape, romanticizing and sexualizing gay men. They're just saying words at this point. Now, I understand a lot of people have different opinions, but saying these things, making up things you don't even have proof of, it's not a good look. I have actually asked one of those people that said that Vivzy Pop is only doing it to get off. They said that it's because Vivzy Pop has a CNC kink. Just because someone has a kink of something doesn't mean that they create something that brings a lot of awareness to one thing. It doesn't mean that they're getting off of it. I mean, to be honest, Vivzy Pop doesn't really have much say in what, or she chooses not to have much say in what goes into the shows. She is so busy to the point where she just tells her animators and writers to do whatever and make it look good. We don't even know if it was her decision to add those themes in episode 4. We know none of that because we do not work for Vivzy Pop. We are not behind the scenes. We just see the finished product. So I don't understand why people would think that she gets off of the shit that she makes. And again, just because someone has a kink or is into something specific doesn't mean that they're going to create an entire show just to get off of that one single thing. There's plenty of that on the internet, trust me. I've seen it. I don't think that a person would go to art school for multiple years and would spend her entire adulthood creating a show for thousands of people to watch. 2 shows actually. Have 1 episode based around one character just so she can get off of rape. That sounds sort of dumb to you, isn't like and people say like Angel Dust was only created so then she could get off of him being a rape victim, to get off of rape, whatever. When Angel Dust is actually one of Vivzy Pop's earliest characters, one of her first Helluva, no, my mind's gone blank. Angel Dust was one of the first Hazbin characters that Vivzy Pop created. He's existed since 2013, 2015, and was originally supposed to be for her web series Zoophobia. His whole story that is what it is now did not exist. Valentino didn't exist. He was just Angel Dust. I've done as much research as I can on him, specifically so I could get this information, but just be aware, I don't know everything. I have not seen everything. I don't know everything about how he was created, when the characters were created, whatever. I'm just going off what I've seen, what I know. Vivziepop created Angel Dust around 2013 to 2015. She's around 37-ish now, so she would have been around in her 20s when she created Angel Dust. Yeah. Anyways, we're getting off a track again. Moral of the story, Angel Dust was not created so then Vivziepop can get off of rape victims or even gay men. He's just created to spread awareness of abuse victims, rape victims, and even how toxic and dangerous the porn industry how dangerous the porn industry can be, which she said herself, I'm pretty sure. Angel Dust and his character, what it is now, is supposed to spread awareness for abuse, rape, sexual assault, and those sorts of themes, to spread awareness of how dangerous and serious those topics are, and to just dumb it down to her wanting to get off of gay rape victims. That's a really weird mindset to have. To even have no proof. To have no proof and to just think that on the spot says a lot about those people more than it says about Vivzi. Because, like, how do you just look at a character, look at something that the creator had done when she was a child, and just think up, oh, she's doing that so then she can masturbate to it? Who thinks that? Moving on. Next I want to talk about Stolas. There's been a huge debate on TikTok, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on everywhere. Every single social media that I have, there is at least a few people debating on whether Stolas is a neglectful father, if he deserves the love or hate that he gets. And my personal opinion is I'm in the middle. I believe that there is a lot of things that Stolas has done wrong. I've rewatched Helluva Boss multiple times, mostly so then I can see the characters and how they acted, especially in season 1 to how they act in season 2 now. And looking back at Stolas, especially in Lululand, it's not the best, and I understand why people think so negatively of him. Though I wouldn't call him a neglectful father or a bad husband, he is bad in some ways, and I'm going to explain that now. First off, starting with Stolas being a neglectful father, I understand that from Octavia's point of view, he has done a lot of things wrong, mostly because she doesn't understand the full story. She doesn't know the abuse and the shit that Stolas has gone through from Via. She doesn't see that. Us as the audience, we see that because we see a lot of different characters' points of views. But Stella as the character, Octavia as the character, does not see that, and that is the point. She has every right to be mad, because if I was Octavia, I'd be mad too. But it's the fact that she doesn't have the full story. So she can be mad now because she doesn't have the full story. But once she knows the full story and she completely understands why he acted this way, why he chose Blitz over her, she would sort of understand why he had to do that, why he chose to do that. Starting off with the very beginning, when Stolas cheated on Stella. And I say cheated because I don't believe that it was actually cheating. We know that in that episode in the circus, or when they had first met, basically, when they had sex that first time, we knew that Stolas and Stella did not have a good relationship. Their relationship was never positive, and they both hated each other very much. And Stolas said it himself that cheating means that there would have been a betrayal, and we all know that Stella was not betrayed. She didn't care that Stolas cheated on her. She just cares about her power, her status, how she looks, and if people find out that her husband cheated on her, that's not a good look for her. I lost my mind, bro. I feel like that the only reason that, well, not only did Stolas cheat because he wanted to feel actual love, but also it's quite common for domestic abuse victims to do anything they can to get out of that situation, even if it means hurting themselves or leaving a loved one, like a child, behind. It's been shown a lot in media, like a show called Maid, which is basically about this woman who tries to leave her abusive boyfriend, and in the first few episodes she has to leave her child behind, which is quite a common thing in media. Sometimes it's just what happens, to be honest. An abuse victim will do anything they can just to get out of that situation, and Stolas chose to do that. He chose himself. He didn't choose Blitz. Blitz was just there, offering help. He could have gone anywhere if Blitz told him no, but because Blitz offered him a place on his couch and a meal and whatever, he took that opportunity, because where else would he go? He had just lost everything. His house, his possessions, his child. And he just thought moments ago that he was about to die. I feel like after experiencing that, you wouldn't really know what to think. You'd just be worried about yourself, about your loved ones, and about what's going to happen next. But obviously, he didn't know that much. He didn't have any friends. The only people he really know, and the people we've seen him have a relationship with, even if it is just talking to them for a few seconds, is Verosica, Millie Moxie, Blitz, and the other Goetishes. That's basically it. He doesn't know much about Verosica, so, I mean, how would he even know where to find her? He doesn't have that much of a relationship with Millie and Moxie, so why would he go there? The Goetishes are no longer doing anything to do with him. They don't associate themselves with him anymore because he's no longer a Goetia. So the only option left is Blitz. Blitz just tried to risk his life for Stolas. They have a close romantic and sexual relationship, and have for quite a while. They're close. And also, Blitz would do anything to make sure Stolas is safe. Even if they were still arguing and, like, they were still pissed at each other because of what happened in the full moon episode, Blitz would still offer him a place to stay. That's just what he'd do. He'd never let Stolas live on the streets, even if he did hate him dearly. Also, I apologize if I'm wording things wrong. I'm very bad at explaining things, and I'm also not very good at talking, so I'm trying my best. My point of this all is because, again, on Twitter, I've seen a lot of people say that Stolas chose Blitz over Via, which isn't true. Stolas didn't choose Blitz. Blitz had offered him a place to stay, so he took it. If he was able to choose Via, he would have taken that opportunity the first chance he could get. He would do anything for Via, and it shows. Like in Sinsmas, he literally risks his life and literally tells Andre to harm him because he wanted to see his daughter. If that's a neglectful father, then what the fuck is my dad? And yes, I know he wasn't the best father, especially in Lululand, but he's trying. There are a lot of mistakes that he's made. Like, a lot. But parents make mistakes. Parents, especially fathers, will make so many mistakes, and I'm not saying that Via has to forgive him, but from the audience's point of view, they're mistakes. Come on. Me personally, I think that there's a lot of things that Stolas could have done better, but the way that he is in the show now is, in my opinion, so much better. It shows who he is, how he has learned behaviors from his childhood, and how he reacts to things, I guess. He's supposed to be an asshole. He's supposed to be an annoying dick, because that's how he was raised. Have you guys not watched the first episode of season 2 where we get to see his father? His father's an asshole. That's the point. Stolas was raised this way. It's not his fault for acting the way that he was raised to act. Those are learnt behaviors. Not to mention, he was raised spoiled. He was raised in a royal family and got so much more than a lot of other children like Blitz got. I mean, Blitz and his family had to steal to survive, lived in a tent, and had to perform for money. Stolas didn't have to worry about any of that. He got 3 meals a day. He didn't have to scavenge for food or for money. He got that. If he asked for money, he would have been given it straight away. That is just, I guess, what happened. And sometimes when you're raised in such a spoiled, rich household, you're going to learn those behaviors, and if you're not told, hey, maybe this isn't the best way to act, you're going to continue acting that way into adulthood, which is what happened with Stolas. He acted spoilt, he acted prissy, he acted like a rich kid, like the ones in the movies. Best example I could say is Chloe Bourgeois from Miraculous, but whatever. And I think that in recent episodes like Sinsmas, he's sort of gotten his behaviour sorted out because Blitz has sort of punched him in the face with a cut it out with your attitude sort of thing. But there is a lot more that he needs to fix. I'm not saying that the way that Stolas acts is okay. I would never say that. But it's sort of a reason of why he acts that way. Of why he belittles imps, especially Blitz, Melly, and Moxie. Of why he makes them feel the way that they feel. Basically, hell racism. It's quite common for a lot of people in real life to say things without meaning to sound rude. I mean, I do it all the time, but I don't have a negative intent. I just don't understand that those things are wrong. Which is exactly what the deal is with Stolas. He doesn't realize that how he talks to Blitz, how he treats Blitz, is belittling and making him feel invalid. Which is something that I really want to see him learn in season 3. Moving on, because I'm running out of that sort of topic, idea, thing, whatever. Moving on to Stolas and Stella's relationship. Because this is also another huge thing I've seen online. A lot of people are debating whether Stolas's experience, I guess, is worse or whatever compared to Stella's. Which I don't really think should be a debate. I personally think, because of the things that I've literally listed, Stolas has definitely been through worse. But they've both been through really shitty things, and they both don't really get to be like, oh, I have more trauma than you, so I'm better. That's not really how it works. Stolas has been a victim of forced marriage, fatherhood at a young age, abuse, rape, and implied sexual assault, and I'll get into that in a second. Death almost 3 times, losing his possessions, house, and child, and domestic, verbal, physical, and emotional abuse, which I'm pretty sure I already said abuse, but I wanted to emphasize on it. Stella has been through forced marriage, pregnancy and motherhood at a young age, and cheating. Tell me, which one has experienced more? Yes, I understand, and I totally see Stella as a victim, but not of the same things Stolas is a victim of. Stella also went through the arranged marriage and arranged parenthood at a young age, just the same as Stolas did, and I'm not denying that. But it's the fact that people are saying that because Stella had to be a mother and a wife at my age, 17, or a little bit later on, that she has experienced so much worse than Stolas has, which is just not true. Stolas has been abused and hurt and almost killed throughout the entire series. I don't really think Stella's the victim here. Yes, she did go through shitty things, in my opinion, being forced into marrying a stranger and giving birth to that stranger's child, that's traumatizing as fuck. But the way that Stella dealt with that, reacted to that, is not okay. And never will be. Ever. Ever. She does not have a right to abuse Stolas the way that she does, physically, verbally, emotionally, and sexually. She might be a victim of those things, but blaming it on someone who's also going through those things is not okay, and never will be. Never will be. Full stop. And to come back to the fact that Stolas was implied raped and sexually assaulted, a lot of people will be like, what the hell do you mean? He was never raped or sexually assaulted. It might have not shown it, but it was definitely implied. Now, slap me if I'm wrong here, but I can quote exactly the line that implies that Stolas was maybe sexually assaulted by Stella. In, I think, The Circus, Season 2, Episode 1, Stella says, I swear to fuck, he just lays there and stares at the wall, and I have to do everything myself. It's embarrassing. Or somewhere along the lines of that. Which implies that maybe Stolas was dissociating and Stella didn't pay any mind to check up on him. When you are having sexual relations with someone, it is always so important to make sure they are all right every single second while you are engaging in sexual activities. I am all about consent, and all the times that I have engaged in sexual activity, every time I think maybe my partner might be uncomfortable or they look like they want to stop, I always ask, do you want to stop? Is this okay? Is this something that you would want me to do? You always ask for consent and you always check up on your partner, no matter what. Even if your partner is enthusiastic and is enjoying it visually, verbally, whatever, still check up on them. Always. I've moved the camera because my phone needs to charge. But anyways, the fact that Stella implied that she had sexually assaulted Stolas, the fact that he was not paying attention, she did not stop or even ask if she should stop, that is implying that she did sexually assault him. She might have not intended to, but it's still sexual assault. If you are fucking someone and they are not enjoying it, they do not give consent, or you have not checked up on them and they are visually not being positive, then that's like, obviously you're like sexually assaulting them. Because usually if you see your partner, you see that they're not enjoying it, usually you would stop or ask them if you should stop. Common sense, people. And the fact that Stella didn't do any of that, again, implies that she sexually assaulted him. I said it. Moving on. Again, I'm going to talk about Stolas and Blitz and their relationship. Because once again, Twitter debates. A lot of people are saying, and there is an entire thread of someone talking about how Stolas coerced Blitz into having sex with him, which is just not true. As someone who has been coerced into sexual activities by a partner, that is nowhere near what coercing is. Stolas just... whoopsies. Stolas made what seemed to be a joke to me about how Blitz was there to ravish him, as in to fuck him. Which was implied a joke, but I understand that not everyone understands jokes unless they're told it's a joke. But I'm pretty sure it was intended to be a joke. That's just from my point of view anyways. But even if it wasn't a joke, once Blitz had initiated the sexualness and had started the sexual activity, Stolas revoked his consent and said that he was only teasing, which would mean that he wasn't actually wanting to fuck him at that time. It wasn't until Blitz started tying him up onto the bed and was being sexual that Stolas started actually being sexual. And in that thread they also said that Stolas had coerced him into making the deal, that Blitz didn't give consent and other things. Now, again, with my huge obsession with Helluva Boss, I can quote exactly what Stolas says. Stolas says in, I think, Murder Family, he says, "Let me make it simple. Once a month on the full moon, you bring the book to me, followed by a night of passionate fornication. Does that sound like a deal, my little imp?" Or something along the lines of that. And Blitz says, and I quote, "Fine, whatever." Now, you're probably gonna say, yeah, but he was in the middle of a fight he was being shot at. If Blitz didn't actually want to do that, he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have taken the book, gone to Stolas's house, and fucked him. I know damn well their relationship was relatively good, that if Blitz didn't want to do that deal, he would have made something else up. He would have made another deal for them to be able to get what they wanted. If Blitz didn't want to do that deal, he would have said no. He would have. There was no coercing at all, because coercing is peer pressuring. Basically saying, come on, let's do this. You know, like, if you don't do it, then I'll do this. That's what coercing is. It's encouraging in a negative way. I know. I've experienced it. There was no negativity in what Stolas was saying. He was not peer pressuring. He was not coercing at all. The deal and their agreement was 100% consensual, and if Blitz didn't want to fuck Stolas, he wouldn't have. That's sort of just common sense, I'm afraid. Okay, moving on. Here's this thing I've wanted to talk about for quite a while, ever since it came to light. I was so excited for the Valentine's merch to come out this year. I didn't actually know until a few hours before it came out, and when it came out, I was so happy. All the characters looked beautiful, especially Blitz. I love Blitz. All of the designs were beautiful. All of the merch was beautiful. I loved the playmats and the keychains. But not a lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like the fact that Vox and Vel were canonically in a relationship, and a lot of people didn't like the designs. The fact that Glitz and Glam were put in a sexual situation together when that's literally their entire persona, and I'm not excusing incest, but what they do in the show, that's not incest. They are not having sex. They are not fucking each other. They are not kissing each other. What they do is completely an act. They put on an act for the audience. And I'm not saying that's an okay thing to do, but it's just what they choose to do. And that's 100% valid. I would never do sexual things with my sister. Never. Even if it was for money, even if I was completely desperate, I would never do that. But if you are someone who would do that, who is willing to do that for something, then you'd probably fucking do it. I don't fully agree on the fact that they were so sexualized together, but the reason is that they were putting on a performance. They were acting. It's an act. They don't actually feel that way towards each other. It's their personas. Also, a lot of people were saying that one of their arts that was on a t-shirt was AI, and that they think that Vivzy Pop and the people that make the merch are using AI, which is not true. Real artists, especially artists that are big enough, like Vivzy Pop or other show creators, wouldn't be dumb enough to use AI. What's the point in going to an art school for multiple years just to use a robot when you literally have that talent? That's stupid, actually. Oh, but why was the merch like that? Why weren't the arms lining up? Whatever. Artists make mistakes. I make mistakes too in my art, and I've been doing art for about 10 years now. Making mistakes is quite common even for professionals. It's just human nature. And saying that it's AI is sort of weird considering that artists make mistakes. It's happened multiple times, and fully just going to AI is really weird in my opinion. There was also an artist that created a keychain thing. I'm pretty sure that they had actually made it into a keychain and were selling them, but had posted the art of them on Twitter and got a lot of hate for it, saying that they weren't valid, that shipping them is gross, that sending death threats, rape threats, whatever, to the single person, and even making up fake screenshots of that person telling other people to kill themselves, which were proven to be fake because the screenshot was on Tumblr and that person did not have a Tumblr account. So saying a victim is invalid for making art that relates to their experience, sending death threats, rape threats, just threats to that person and people supporting them, and creating very harmful and obviously fake screenshots of them saying very dangerous and harmful things just because they made art that you don't like. Sweetheart, do you need a nap? Are you a bit cranky? Like, have you not had enough sleep? Like, Are you on your period? Jesus, I don't know. The fact that Hazbin and Helluva haters and the hatedom would go so far as to create very harmful fake screenshots just to prove their hateness for the show. It's like they're more in love with the show than the fandom is, and it's quite sad. There has been posts on Twitter, and I know Twitter isn't really the best place to get information from, and it isn't a very positive place. It's the main social media that I use because I don't know how to use much other social medias. Anyways, there has been a lot of posts of people saying that Hellverse fans enjoy touching animals, which is so insane because that's something that I directly have been accused of multiple times. Going a bit off topic, two people who really hate me, who happen to be pro shippers, accused me of taking horse tranquilizers and fucking dogs. They also accused me of raping them, which I don't know those people. I don't know them in real life. We were in a server once. And yeah. It's quite common for the hatedom to say these very serious things about Hazbin and Helluva fans. It feels like projecting at this point. The amount of homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, ableism that the hatedom gives to the fandom says a lot. It just says a lot. The hatedom giving the fandom death threats, rape threats, saying slurs, saying all this bad shit, saying that the fandom should kill themselves, saying that there should be another Holocaust specifically for Hellverse fans and Vivziepop supporters, comparing Vivziepop to Hitler. It's so insane how far the hatedom will go just to make the fandom look bad, and they're making themselves look bad just by doing it. My next point is Vivziepop and her past. The accusations that people still happen to bring up to this day, and just Vivziepop. Keep in mind that Vivziepop is in her 30s. I don't know exactly how old she is. All I know is that she's between the age of 34 and 37. I'm gonna search it up right now, actually. How old is Vivi? I didn't write that correctly, but I don't give a fuck. She's 32, which is much younger than I thought. Anyways, getting to my point, when Vivziepop was around 18 to 19 years old, she created this art that was a bit problematic. I'm not going to show the art, but you can search it up easily and probably find it on Reddit somewhere. Anyways, describing the image, she made art of someone which I'm pretty sure was supposed to be a minor in a bathtub having sexual intercourse with snakes. I don't agree with that art, and guess what? Neither does Vivziepop. I can't exactly find where she said it, what she said, and I will try to find it, but she has apologized from what I've heard, and I am going to find proof of that. But she has apologized. She does not agree with that behavior and has moved on. which good on her, honestly. Not to mention that stuff happened more than 10 years ago, and people are still bringing it up. Sometimes people do problematic things, especially in their teens. It's a phase that not everyone really goes through. I know I've gone through it. I have made one or two problematic things that I don't agree with, and I never will. Not anymore, at least. People make mistakes, and yes, those can be very, very harmful mistakes. But I'm glad that Vivzy Pop does not agree with that stuff. And I'm glad that she was able to grow and move on from that. Moving on. I'm not going to include this as problematic, but Vivzy Pop also did create a character who happened to be a pedophile. And people were still trying to say that she should be cancelled for that. The character doesn't do anything sexual with minors. There are two pieces of art that I've seen. One of the character saying she likes kids, and another one of her basically saying to what I think to be is a minor, I'm not wording correctly, she's flirting with the minor, basically saying, you're cute, I like you. You know, there's been way worse in media. There are literal shows and movies and books and art and whatever that they describe sexual relations with an adult and a minor quite in detail, and quite a lot. It's quite common for people to do it for sexual pleasure. But creating a character that just so happens to like children is not a bad thing. I would understand if she had made art, sexual art, of the two characters. That is not okay and is very unnecessary, but the characters weren't doing anything sexual in the art that she did. It was just the pedophile saying to a minor, hey, you're cute. Or something along those lines. Now again, I'm not supporting that. I'm not saying Vivzy Pop's in the right. But creating a character that just so happens to be a pedophile is not a wrong thing. There are plenty of pedophiles that are created by people who don't get off of that. I have created a character who has done so many bad things. But I do not support said bad things. One of my OCs, Montoya, is in an abusive relationship with Valentino. And I am writing a story for those characters explaining their relationship in very, very uncomfortable detail, but I don't support that shit. I'm just trying to bring my experiences with sexual assault, rape, and abuse to life. And this is how I chose to do it. Through another character. Through a story that brings me comfort. And me doing that does not mean that I support rape, sexual assault, or abuse. And coming back to Vivzy Pop being into CNC, a lot of people said that back in the day, Vivzy Pop had a public playlist on her YouTube filled with videos of rape, which I'm gonna say right now that's quite impossible because YouTube doesn't really allow that shit. Like there's probably that one like in the dirt sort of video that only a few people would come across. But to have an entire playlist full of people being raped and having that playlist for pleasure, it would be much more common to find that on Reddit. I know because I've seen it unwillingly. There has been so much shit that I've seen on Reddit. I saw someone die from an overdose on Reddit, which was fucking traumatizing. But YouTube, you can't even find good porn on there, let alone people being raped. It's just facts. It's just facts. And like, why would you have a playlist on YouTube on an account that you use for professional stuff? Have that public, especially. I don't think people would be like, I don't know about other people, but me, if I were to do that, which I would not, but hypothetically, if I were to have a suspicious playlist on YouTube, I would make sure that it is only seen by me. It's not that hard to make your playlist private. So why would someone have a public playlist of that on an account that they use for making art and that got lots and lots of views? Like, you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Like, I'm not saying that she didn't do that. I haven't seen any proof of that. But I'm just saying, why would someone do that? Who in their right mind would ever do that? I don't get it. And on to my next point, Vivzy Pop being transphobic, homophobic, and even racist in her workplace. A lot of people have spread screenshots which have been proven to be fake of Vivzy Pop being transphobic, of telling a trans man, why wouldn't you want to be a woman? I, in my opinion, wouldn't see that as transphobic. I think it depends on the context, because a lot of people would just be asking that out of pure curiosity. I'd ask the same thing. Because even though being a woman sucks, I'd wonder, what was your reasoning? Like, a lot of people have different reasons of why they want to transition. I know I did. Everyone's different, and if they didn't have a reason, that's fine. If they weren't comfortable telling, that's fine. I think it just depends on the context of why she was saying it. The only reason I'm saying that it was proved to be fake is because a lot of people say that it was Discord messages. But as someone who's been using Discord since 2018, those were not Discord messages. The lighting is going to be absolutely horrible, but I'm looking at Discord right now and it's looked like this for years. But with Discord screenshots or like messages, it shows the person's username, the profile picture, and then the message. And for every message you send, it will go back to back. And then the next person that messages, it'll have their name and then their messages back to back. In the screenshot, the messages were not back to back. Each message that was sent by Vivzy Pop had her name on each message each time. That is not a Discord screenshot, at least from my knowledge. I don't know when the screenshot was taken, or when the messages were sent. I don't know what if Discord used to look different to what it looks like now. I'm just going off of what I know. But the messages have been proven to be fake anyways. There was absolutely no proof that those messages were a Vivzy Pop. Anyone can change their name and say any bullshit they want and then post it online and say this person said this. There was no proof that she did it. It was just a screenshot that was labeled as a Discord screenshot and obviously was not a Discord screenshot. A lot of people have also said, and has been said by what I think is to be past co-workers for Vivzy Pop, has said a lot about her being transphobic and even racist in the workplace. There has been no evidence or proof of this, so I'm not going to say that it's wrong or right, but there has been witnesses that this isn't, that she's not transphobic, basically. Morgana, which is, let me restart. Morgana is a voice actor in Helluva and voices Sally Mae. She also does a lot of work with both Vivzy Pop and Brandon Rogers. She's a trans woman and is one of Vivzy Pop's closest friends. Morgana has said herself that Vivzy Pop loves trans people, that Vivzy Pop has never been transphobic, even in the slightest, and why would her best friend be trans if she doesn't respect trans people? That just doesn't make any sense. There has literally been no proof that Vivzy Pop has ever done or said anything in those lines of being racist, homophobic, whatever. If there is any proof, I'd love to see it, but I have not seen any proof. So until I see proof, I'm gonna say y'all's are liars. The fact that y'all as in haters, would be so quick to judge, hate, blame Vivzy Pop for things she hasn't even done in the slightest, but then turn around and go and support someone who has admitted to being a bad person. That says a lot about you. And not only that, but saying that the fandom is just a group of these horrible, disgusting people who support rape and support whatever, but then turn around and go and be racist, hateful, send death threats, send rape threats, tell people to kill themselves over a couple of drawings. Sorry. I don't get it. I really don't. Not to mention, you guys want to blame Vivzy Pop for doing so much shitty things, yet here Brandon Rogers is posting YouTube videos still to this day with so much problematic shit. He has said racist shit. He has made pedophilic jokes. He's made incest jokes. He has made ableist jokes, homophobic and transphobic jokes. He's made so much problematic jokes. And I'm not like they're funny coming from a somewhat person of color, woman, gay, trans, disabled person. I find those jokes funny and I laugh at them all the time. But they're still problematic jokes, and hating on one person for not doing that, but then going around and liking this person who's actively still making those jokes, it doesn't make any sense. And it's sort of made me wonder if maybe it has something to do with the fact that Vivzy Pop is a woman. Not to mention, I've seen so many people blame Vivzy for how bad the writing is, for the merch, which she has no control over, by the way, and has admitted that. She has no control over the merch. She doesn't get to say what happens to it, what is on the merch, who gets merch, what. She doesn't have any say in that. But also, she's not the only one working on the show. There are I think there's like 5 writers. There are hundreds of animators. Like, but y'all wanna blame Vivzy Pop the second there's a mistake? She is one person, and half of the time she doesn't even have a say in what happens with the show. She has admitted herself in a video that when someone comes up to her and asks her something, she just says, do it how you think you would do it. Like when an animator comes up and says, how would you like the scene to go, they'd just be like, do it how you would do it. And so she doesn't really have a say in most of the stuff. She's just a writer at this point. She just writes the story with the help of the multiple other writers in the room. She's not the only person working on the show, and we don't know exactly what Vivzy Pop does, what specific scenes that she wrote, what specific things that she chose. We don't know. So why are we blaming her for everything just because she's the only woman in charge? Because what is it, because she's a woman? That generally has to be the reason, because y'all want to go and hate Vivzy Pop for things she didn't even do, but then support Brandon Rogers, who has literally done those things, and there is so much evidence of him doing those things. I mean, in his latest video that came out literally like 2 days ago, has incest jokes, racism jokes, even like fat jokes, which I wouldn't really say is that bad, but I don't know, scratch that. Let's just stick with the incest joke. Not to mention, so many people are blaming Vivzy Pop for the fact that Stolitz had become canon when originally they were supposed to just stay as a hookup, as a comedic thing. But Brandon went up to Viv and was like, wouldn't it be funny if we made them canon? Like, wouldn't that go well with the story? And Vivzy Pop was like, yeah, why not? And now people were blaming Vivzy Pop when Brandon came up with that idea. Starting to sound like sexism to me. But y'all are so quick to judge. Y'all are so quick to hate Vivzy Pop. What's the reason? Like, Hazbin and Helluva are known as the most problematic fandom, yet we're literally just trying to exist and watch our horny gay demons do stupid shit. I mean, what's so bad about me watching a show that was intended to be made for my age group? I mean, I know there are a small, very small group of people that don't make us look good, but every fandom has that. There is always going to be a small group of people in every single fandom that does gross and problematic shit. And sometimes the creators encourage that shit. But at least Vivziepop doesn't. Vivziepop has made a lot of mistakes, sure. But she's a human being. People make mistakes. There's just life. And hating her for that, blaming her for everything, even things she didn't even do, that says a lot more about you as a person than it does her. And being super hypocritical, saying that the fandom are really bad people, but then turning around telling them to kill themselves and saying really harmful shit, saying that there should be another Holocaust specifically for these fans. I don't know. Considering the fact that the Holocaust was one of the biggest genocides ever, and all because you don't like a show full of gay, horny demons. And I'm not saying you have to like this show. People have different tastes in things. But hating the people that like the show, villainizing them, and then acting like the victim, that is not okay. And the fact that this isn't even a new thing. It's been a thing for years. Hating on a fandom simply for existing and liking the show or whatever. Like with My Hero Academia, the fans were hated simply for existing and basically became a stereotype. Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss fans have become a stereotype, which is not only negative on the fans who aren't that stereotype, but also it's just harmful and it's not really cool. The hatedom, in my opinion and from what I've seen, is 10 times worse than the fandom has been since the show was created. Just in the span of this week, the fandom, the hatedom, has been more problematic in a span of a week than it has than the fandom has been since the show was created. And the show was created 5 years ago. Not to mention, this just came to my head, someone made revenge porn of Vivziepop. Not a persona, not a character, Vivziepop herself. I have not seen it. I don't want to see it. But if you're going to go and say that a person is bad and that they deserve like this huge ass punishment, and then turn around and create porn of this person without their consent, sorry, who's in the wrong here? Like, I'm speechless, honestly. I don't even have the words. Because who in their right mind would say that this creator is so problematic and is like the worst human being, comparing them to Hitler, a fucking genocidal maniac. How do you compare someone to Hitler and then the next second make such a disgusting thing of them without their consent? That is literally sexual harassment. It's sexual harassment, which is illegal. It's a crime. Not to mention the doxing, threatening, telling people to kill themselves, which is essentially murder if they actually do. Freaking doxing is a crime. Threatening people is a crime. Telling people to kill themselves is a crime because it's basically threatening, but also if they act on it, that's murder. Or it would be classed as murder in some situations anyways. Not to mention like the jokes that people say about the fandom, like liking liking animals and touching animals, or like saying that they are pedophiles or whatever, saying these things. Like, why would you just go around and say, call this like 15-year-old a fucking pedophile? like I just don't get it. Like it just doesn't make sense that you'd hate a show so much that you're becoming what you hate. You're literally, like, the hatedom is literally becoming the one thing that they were complaining about. Like, make that make sense. You can't. You can't. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Because how, and I know I keep on repeating this, but generally, how do you like threaten these people, say these disgusting things about people who hate, who like a show, a couple of drawings? You like say that they're a pedophile and that they're disgusting and that they romanticize rape, but then you go and do that yourself. You become what you hate. That generally does not make any fucking sense. And like, not to mention the what was I saying? I generally I don't get these people. I don't get why they are more in love with the shows than the fandom themselves. I'm obsessed with Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel more than the next person. But I'm not so obsessed that I would make porn of the creator. That I would take time out of my day to make porn of the creator. Not to mention, someone on TikTok made an edit of Angel Dust and in the caption said, "I fucking hate Angel Dust. I hate Hazbin Hotel." Why would you take time out of your day making something for something you hate, as I'm gobsmacked. I'm flabbergasted because there is so much more things you could do. Read a book, invent something, jerk off. I don't know, but why would you waste your time to make something for something you despise? For a piece of media that you have no interest in? Why? Who in their right mind would do that? And also, like, these people that hate them, they are just generally just making shit up at this point. Ever since they couldn't get away with the fact that Vel fans didn't support his actions, it was a whole debate. A lot of people, after the Valentine's marriage came out, said that people romanticized rape, romanticized Valentino, and supported his actions because they liked his character. And I really like his character. I like him as a character because he's a very, very good character. And I think that he's very, very attractive. I love the fact that he's a pimp, and I love his story. I love his personality, everything. I love everything about him, apart from his actions. And I have never seen a Valentino fan who supports his actions, who supports the fact that he's a rapist and a murderer. I don't support that. And I know no other Valentino fans who do. Who in their right mind would support such a disgusting thing? I mean, for valid reasons, I would. But Valentino does not have a valid reason to do those things, so I do not support them. But the fact that people that hate them said, like, you support rape, you support Valentino's actions, you romanticize rape. And they had gone so far to try to prove that people did romanticize whatever, that they did those things, but couldn't find anything, couldn't find any proof, couldn't win with their arguments. So they gave up and started lying about shit. Now at this point, they're just making shit up, saying words, lying, faking shit, or bringing up something that has already been proven to be wrong, just so they can be right and they can have a valid excuse to hate something. Now people are saying shit like, they're generally just hating on the fans. A lot of people that I follow on Twitter have gotten a lot of hate for literally just posting about Hazbin or Helluva. Someone posted a post saying that X's and O's is 2 years old now, and they got death threats, they got rape threats, they got everything under the fucking sun, to the point where they had to go private and delete the post. And under that post, someone had said, the people who like the show definitely touches dogs, and people were agreeing with that. And someone else had quoted the post saying, kill all Vivzy Pop fans. Someone else said Vivzy Pop fans should die. So many different things, and I could probably find so many different screenshots of so many different kinds of threats and negative stuff just under that specific post. Yeah. But who's in the wrong? Who's the bad person? Who's the villain? Is it a group of 16 to 30ish year olds trying to enjoy a show full of gay, horny demons literally trying to exist? Or is it people actively spreading harm, telling people to harm themselves, to end their lives, and spreading very harmful and very serious accusations that aren't even true, just because they don't like a few drawings? Who's in the wrong? Who's the bad guy here? I don't even know. Now the screen's gonna be dark. Whoa. Because I'm going onto Twitter and I'm gonna find some posts. Just because I'm sort of running out of things to talk about, but I know that there's a lot of other things that I wanted to talk about. Okay, I cannot find shit for some reason. Twitter's a bit sick of giving me drama, but when I find it, I'm sure I'll update. Anyways, I'm gonna find some more things to talk about. Oh yes, this is going to be a personal thing, not about the hatedom, but about the fandom. Great. Anyways, there is this one person on Twitter who has been, I guess, outed for stealing people's art and reposting it as their own. Not only that, but breaking the terms of services of PayPal and being a minor that reposts not safe for work art and who participates in not safe for work role plays. It was a while ago, but people started noticing that this person was reposting other people's art without crediting them. The artists told them to either take the post down or to credit them, and they did not do either of those. They later admitted to being 15 and had a pinned message on their account of a link to their PayPal asking for money for merch. And from my knowledge, you have to be over 18 to have a PayPal account. Yeah. Anyways, they also had reposted a video of a woman being raped and has reposted multiple arts of different Hazbin characters in sexual ways, and has made a post saying that they will participate in more not safe for work roleplays. This person's 15. They basically swept it all under the rug by saying, if you don't like it, get over it. If like, it's online, if someone's gonna steal it, that's on you. It's not that hard to give credit. I mean, like, I used other people's art for like references or whatever because I'm still learning how to draw. But I always give credit even though I only use them as references. I use other people's art as references. Even though it's still my own art that I drew, I still used their art as references, so I'm going to credit that. It's just basic fucking courtesy in the artist community. And if you're going to repost someone else's art with the watermark still on it, might I add, and say that it's yours, after the artists that the artists of the art that you reposted gave you a chance saying either take the post down or give me credit, and you say no and then continue saying that the art is yours while the photo literally has the original artist's watermark on it. Are we just doing this for shits and giggles now? Not to mention, this person also told one of my friends to kill themselves, called them a hoe, and other shit like that, simply because they were trying to spread awareness about how this person was stealing people's art. It's not a good look. Yes. There has also been a debate with Stolas merch and how he should be presented in the merch. A lot of people think that he should be presented in a feminine way, and a lot of people think that he should be presented in a masculine way. Actually, I don't think it was merch. I think it was for Stolas Fem and Mask Week. A lot of people thought Stolas is more feminine than masculine, so why not have a Stolas Fem Week? And then other people thought he's more mask than femme, so why don't we have a Stolas Mask Week? I personally thought both were fine, but a lot of people thought no, it's either one or the other. I personally think that he's more masculine than feminine because there are very few times that we get to see him in feminine clothing in canon. In the show, he never actually wears anything feminine, ever. He wears suits and a t-shirt and shorts. That's it. The only time you ever see him wearing anything feminine is in merch or on his Instagram account. Which I have gone through every single photo in his Instagram account, including the archived ones, and there is only about 4 photos out of the 80-ish photos that are on his account. There's only 4 of him wearing feminine clothing. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Stolas Fem Week. But to say that he is more feminine than masculine, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, why can't we just make every character have a femme and mask week? Because in my opinion, every single Hazbin character and Helluva boss character, they can all be mask and femme. Like, come on. Like, I would totally love to see Blitz have like a skirt and a crop top and a wig and then see him in like a suit. Like, I will chalk it, bro. I'm being unserious, but come on. Why would you argue over being given something? Like, I'd take anything I get just to see Blitz. Even if it's just a shitty doodle. If it's Blitz, I don't give a fuck. It's Blitz. It's my husband. I actually, talking about feminine and masculine characters, I love how the way that they're designed, because it gives the characters more opportunity to be femme and masc. And I especially love the fact that not only Angel Dust is canonically a drag queen, but Blitz and Moxie canonically do drag in the show. On multiple occasions, might I add. I love drag queens. I'm a huge fan of drag, and I love the fact that Angel is a drag queen. I've always loved that idea, and before I even knew he was canonically a drag queen, I always headcanoned him as one. I just love that idea, and I love the fact that there's representation of Angel Dust being a cis man, but also being so feminine. That's why I love the power of androgynism, is the fact that you can identify as such a manly man. Like, you could have a six-pack and yet you could still be feminine. You could have long hair and wear dresses and makeup, and that's why I love the power of androgynism. Not only the fact that it has no specific look, but also you can express yourself however you want without there needing to be gender. It's one of my favorite things, and I personally identify with that term because it's a great way to express myself in the way that I feel, because I specifically don't express myself with a specific gender or a specific anything. I don't present myself with feminine or masculine. I just exist because clothing is clothing, makeup is makeup. Everyone uses makeup at least one time in their life. It's just how it is. And I really love how Angel Dust sort of shows that men can wear makeup too. Makeup is not just a feminine thing, and I love that.